Welcome back, everybody, to the AGE Open for the month of April. It is top 8 time. That's right. We've had 6 rounds of Swiss, and we've come up with our heaviest hitters here from the field, classic constructed. Now, if you're just joining us for the first time, welcome. Well, let's talk a little bit about what the purpose of the AGE Open is. Is surprising. So, for each of our AG Open, there is, of course, $400 for first place, second, $200 for second, third, fourth, fifth, through eighth. You can see the breakdown there. But also, importantly, Michael, those circuit points.
Yeah, 30 for the first place winner.
I jumped off it.
That's all right, because we got Charles Dunn sitting there at 40. So anyone that takes first has a chance to overtake that first place slot. Charles Dunn got 9th in this, so he did get some points, but will be less than the people in the top 8.
Yeah, Ken, saw Zane, of course, on Prism making something happen. Connor was on Tekla Vossen, saw Moises here. I'm not sure if he was playing. Gabriel, I saw him in a mirror match, a drama mirror against Andrew Rudin. But here is your top 8 as it stands. No duplicate heroes in the top 8. There's a lot of exciting matchups here.
Yeah, and this seems to be a pattern that we see over and over again in this meta. No duplicate heroes seems to be just all about the players piloting the decks the best.
So there you have it. We have our top 8 matches. We're going to be jumping into a bit of a classic one here. Chris Iaali is going to be on Victor, Anthony Pham on Dash, Inventor, Extraordinaire. And there's a story behind this because Chris Iaali is not a Guardian player by any stretch of the imagination. In fact, he rather loathes to play the class. But he made a bet with Anthony Pham. If Anthony could guess his favorite movie, then he would play a deck of Anthony's choice. He gave Anthony 2 hints, to be fair. Said it was made in 2005 and it was based on a book. So really narrowed it down for himself there. Also, I think if Anthony got it wrong, then Chris could pick for him. So pretty high stakes stuff. But Anthony loves to gamble. He's a gambling man. And he ended up coming out on top. He guessed Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, which was correct. And then what he did was he took 3 different decks. I think it was Dash, Levia, and Victor, and put them in a duck race. If you don't know what a duck race is, it's just it's a little applet that basically lets you just have 3 ducks that race each other, and he put the names Victor, Levia, Dash, and basically the whole time Victor is like lagging behind. And Chris is like, okay, we're chilling, play Levia, play some Dash, and then in the last stretch, the little duck that could, Victor, came through to take first place. Chris Iaali in absolute shambles, didn't want to play the deck. I've seen him all of today. He's in agony, Michael, agony.
He is not happy to be in the top 8. And against the person who made the bet with him in the first place, this will be an interesting match.
He's got no choice. Let's head down to the feature match area here in just a moment. Anthony Pham.
Oh, and they're already talking about it. Look at those faces.
Mr. Come to Locals himself. With a second place in Battle Hard of Los Angeles. Always a competitor. A frequent day tour of large flesh and blood events. Going up against, I think, our 2022 world runner-up, Chris Iaali, who was on Briar at the time, up against Michael Hamilton's famous Icelander. Now, in this matchup, talk to me about it here because we already see that induction chamber.
Yeah, so in this matchup, Anthony Pham is going to try to take it to the late game and build up a board, get that pistol into ultimate mode, swinging in for 4, maybe even 5, go again over and over and over. And Chris Iaali showing up with the Anothos. I was actually expecting a different card there. I was thinking maybe he'd bring the Rampart of the Ram's Head, but this says he wants to push damage and kill Anthony.
He's trying to kill him
before he can get there.
Yeah, Rampart of the Ram's Head doesn't appear in every Victor list. It doesn't appear in this one specifically. No Rampart registered. But of course, Dash is breaking the chain when she uses that induction chamber in between pistol attacks, which means that Rampart, you obviously pay to add 1 block, power. You throw it in. Eventually, it's blocking for 2 each sort of time, and very efficiently so. So I guess that's something that the Dash is trying to avoid walking into, but Chris didn't register a list with that card. He might not have the tech to handle Dash.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the sort of crowd is split on what's better in this matchup. I know that you definitely want to try to end the game quickly, and so I think one line of thinking is even if you get that Rampart value, it's not enough to close. And so, I think a lot of the top Guardian players might just bring the Anothos. Chris obviously being one of those top Guardian players.
Oh, buddy, that's not good. Spark of Genius, turn 0, going to get a Plasma Purifier. And a chuckle there from Chris Iaali is already the first verses of writing going up on the wall. This is the dream start for the Dash, who wants to get that Exodia of items to power up the pistol.
Took the words right out of my mouth. I was thinking Exodia. We just put the arm down. We started with the chest. We just need a couple more pieces, and Anthony Pham will be off to the race.
We need Weevil Underwood to throw him off the boat. That's what we need. Stop this man before he gets out of control. Sheesh.
And here's the aggression, though, that we were talking about. Great card to be playing Once again, throwing back 7, go again. This is exactly what Chris needs to try to push the damage.
It's a tasty hand to draw up just quietly.
Yep. He gets to Arsenal one of those cards, probably the Golden Sun.
What do we swing Athos? Like, I mean, yeah, put the Golden Sun in Arsenal. Chris obviously is hoping to find Anthony with, items in his hand at times. But, Victor obviously doesn't represent the same density of disruptive on-hits that Bravo can. So even if he does catch Anthony without an item, Anthony will just not block.
Yep. So Anthony just giving the whole hand, preserving his life total, and asking Chris to do it again. Show me you can push damage every single turn, Mr. Guardian.
Now, Victor can struggle with closing games. It's not always a strength of his. And the Golden Sun in Arsenal for Chris really needs a gold token in play to get you have to have that overpower. You cannot just send a vanilla 7 here. That's just not going to cut the mustard. That's why that trounce pair in hand is so important. We're pitching one of them away here. Anthony, your homie's pitching a trounce. Either he thinks Chris is not expecting anything. Oh, that is 2 trounces in hand. He's
getting 4-card 7.
Why are we deploying this now? Yeah, I guess Chris is just saying, is he not going to give me an attack to trounce block?
Well, I think the point is that those cards are basically dead. If you draw them up on a turn where you have to play a 5-card hand, you can't play them.
But they're pitch stacked together.
I think it's the best he can do.
Ooh,
it's either put the trounce in Arsenal, which is not a good idea, or put the Command and Conquer. So he was forced into that. He just decided to clear his hand out, and maybe he's hoping it doesn't get to second cycle.
Now, block cards cannot be played from Arsenal, only reactions. So if you ever put a block card in your Arsenal, you had better hope you have a Crown of Providence, folks. Otherwise, you're playing off just the 4 cards.
Yep. Anthony Pham coming in here, 3 damage with a go again counter on his Plasma Purifier. We're going to see this type of repetition a lot on his side. It's just pistol after pistol after pistol.
The Purifier gives him the +1. The Induction Chamber will allow him to gain go again. You'll still need to pay to put a pistol counter, to load the pistol, God help me.
Yep.
And you'll also need to pay to load up that Plasma Purifier. So at this stage, it doesn't look amazing value-wise. But again, these are cards that are just going back into Anthony's deck. They're being pitched away. He isn't spending any cards from his deck to do this.
By the time it gets to late game, those blues can be 1-card 10s almost.
Yeah.
1-card 5s. You need 2 blues to get the 2/5 attacks, but it becomes really efficient late game.
Yeah, and that's why we're talking about getting value off Rampart of the Ram's Head. It doesn't really measure up to what the dash can do at that stage of the game. So we're going Lightning Strike with go again for 5 into Debilitate.
Yeah, more good attacking pressure here.
Okay, we have a Reinforce the Line coming out there. Pretty important as it's actually an instant, not a defense reaction, that will give a card extra block power. Pitch a Tekla Core here. We're going to give +1 to pistol shots now by activating the Purifier. And so again, this might be just 2 instances of 3 go again. But importantly, Anthony has the resources to reload the Plasma Purifier, rather the Induction Chamber afterwards.
Chris just thinking about whether he wants to take this and send the 5-card hand. It's really tough to be in the Guardian position because you are getting value by blocking, but every card you block with is not then being spent on offense. So it can feel like a good play to preserve life, and then in the end sort of bite you when it comes to late game, when you need to have that extra life to take the pistol hits to try to close the game out.
Yeah, you are. In theory, these cards are worth 3 on average. Victor, though, can give you the kind of value that gives you sort of 2-card 8s. So that makes you feel like using a card for only 3 value on block is actually not where you need to be on rate to match what Dash can do here.
And we can see that Chris Iaali just took both pistol shots, sending all of his cards. And you've got the Enlightened Strike in there, along with the Rouse the Ancients. This could be a 3-wide turn. I didn't see what was in his arsenal.
Yeah, unclear. I think it's probably just a 7
It'd just be a 14 damage 4-card hand, yeah.
Still respectable, but if Anthony is sitting on 2 defense reactions, he can match this with the blocking power of his hand. Yeah, 7 and 7. Send away the Chokeslam, I think it was. Okay, we can't block it all. We're going to leak a little bit of damage, but that's acceptable to Dash. Anthony Pham has not found another item since that Spark of Genius turn 0.
Yeah. Blocking with your whole hand can sometimes feel really bad as the defending player, but when you draw into things like the double trounce that we saw earlier, the Guardians can actually really struggle to spend all 5 cards. So it's not so bad to give up your hand and just say, show me what you got.
That's a great point. I mean, yeah, it feels uncomfortable not to be able to do anything on attack, but you're right. Guardians don't always have the ways to generate
and
these
see,
extra
this is a
action points.
4-card 8. It's not that strong, and so Anthony really didn't get punished for giving the whole hand up.
Chris obviously wants to overpitch here by pitching the Command and Conquer first because, honestly, he needs to get some new cards, dig a little bit deeper. And hey, having, a 6 in the deck for later on doesn't hurt. This deck does feature, I can say that now, we're open deck list, 2 red pummels. So that is an option. Can definitely be disruptive.
Yeah, he's probably just fishing for as much go again or as early as possible, and a Command and Conquer does not fit that game plan.
No Terrace under here for the Victor. This has started to make its way into a few lists, as we saw earlier. 2-card block here, so leaking some further damage. And this is, again, what Victor does well. Many decks don't really want to give you more than 2 cards on an 8-power attack. So you leak damage, you gain value, and you honestly end up fatiguing by damage. All right, load it up. Here we go again.
Pistol for 3.
So right now, Chris is presenting more damage per turn cycle on average than Anthony, but Anthony's damage is not really something that Chris wants to block. Oh, the test of strength on the top.
No gold, so that's just going to fizzle, and Anthony gets the gold.
Chris doesn't have any gold as well to use Victor's ability to get to clash again by spending it. So, oh my goodness, you've just given the man some gold. That is brutal stuff. Not what you want to see. Victor needs that gold to gain that value across the game. Oh, that's a good card in this matchup. My God. T-Bone says, you got to block with some armor. But Chris doesn't have any 0 block armor at all. So T-Bone against this equipment suite is actually very powerful. It's going to demand a piece of armor that will lose durability, get -1 counters. It's not what Chris wants to see.
Giving up the civic steps here.
What do you make of this?
Does Anthony have any cards in hand?
I mean, quick and token. I guess Chris says
this is actually a fantastic time to use it. He can't pay for another pistol shot here, so he just opts the quicken.
There we go.
It's very hard to find windows to get give the quicken token to dash, but Chris Iaali actually brilliantly using the civic steps.
It's important to point out that Tectoplasma Pistol is not a once per turn action. If you have the action points and you can load it, you can go all day. So very nicely done. Great civic steps block here. I mean, this Chris Iaali is not a Guardian player. It doesn't matter. The guy really knows how to pilot any deck here in Flesh and Blood. Sending 6, though, doesn't feel amazing.
Yep. Anthony Pham, that's his game plan. Block with 2 cards, pitch a blue.
Keep doing it. You can have your gold. I'm going to crack it.
Interesting. He may just be digging, wanting to get that item out just a little bit earlier there. Set up the Exodia.
Okay. We are loading the pistol with that left over. Twin drive as well. We'll load the induction chamber.
Seeing the twin drive pitched here is actually really interesting because he needs that to close games. He's going to gain a lot of action points off of a high octane later on. And twin drive is fantastic because you can boost twice, allowing you to gain 2 action points instead of just 1 off of a single boost card.
Yeah, I mean, there are 3 copies of maximum velocity here in Anthony's deck, but he's really not going for that kind of game plan here. The odds of him being able to sort of boost enough times outside of twin drive lets you do it a bit more easily.
Yeah. Usually with all the D-reacts in his deck, it's hard to line something like that up.
That's a great point. Yeah. I mean, if to boost, he needs to banish Mechanologist cards. And if it's a non-mech card off the top, then he doesn't get the boost. He doesn't get the go again. And that would completely... So adding these cards, fat decking to some degree, or watering down the ratio of Mechanologist cards makes it a little risky to boost at all.
Yeah, exactly. So they typically like to just play slow, controlled. And
it's like twin drive, right? I mean, it'll let you at least get go again. You're not gonna boost 2 non-mech cards.
It's the exact card you want to see in your second cycle. When it's time to end the game, having a double boost card right there at the end. That's gravy.
All right, what do we got here? Command and Conquer. Haha, gotcha. All right, just CNC coming across here. C doesn't benefit from the cost reduction of the seismic surge, but still is a disruptive effect. And Anthony,
cashing it in.
Might as well get some use out of the Crown of Providence here. Again, Chris is not on Findle Spring Tunic, so you have to draw a natty 4-card CNC pummel hand to really sort of make that happen. Could be hard off just 2 cards. But that's what the Tunic Guardians do very well. There's no Findle Spring Tunic in Chris's list either. Very straight down the line, well-behaved deck building here from Chris. A very standard Victor list.
Here we go again. Another 3. Anthony was quick with that first item, but seems to have slowed down a little bit. Not really establishing the rest yet. So Chris has got to be happy to see that. But you know they're coming. And at 31 life, he's still got plenty of time.
Well, what is crazy is that, Anthony is just playing a slow game and looking for items. He hasn't reached that sort of, oppressive state where Dash has 5 items to power this mega pistol. But he's still walking the life total down quite comfortably against a deck that is renowned for having great value at all times.
Yeah.
Chris hasn't been able to open this life gap in his favor at all.
No, it seems like Anthony is in very much control of this game.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay.
Boosting away a non-mech card, so that will not have go again. It's the reinforce the line going to the banish.
Yeah, that's what we talked about before, right? Some of those generics, the non-mech cards here make boosting hard. However, it just means Anthony has a acceptable, hopefully, Arsenal target.
I think he's perfectly happy.
This is what the game against the game plan against Pistol Dash for many decks is to just ignore the pistols. But you are on a clock. And again, unless Chris can get something truly disruptive here, like ruin Anthony's plan, Anthony just blocks with the cards he needs to, and these T-bones are disgusting if he gets to keep like more than 1 card hand. Like Dash is inherently favored here.
Yeah, absolutely. One of Dash's best matchups, which is probably why Anthony put that on the duck.
Maybe pummel here. On the Zealous, cover it over to a degree. Do we have more defense reactions here, Mr. Pham? Or are we selecting a card to discard? 9 on hit, your opponent must discard. We are sinking.
Yeah,
Take
that
2.
was opting, but yes.
Opting, excuse me.
And then discards.
All right.
That's a powerful turn.
15 damage. That's where you need to be. Anthony really wants to hold on to those 2 cards. One of those.
Yeah, I think he values the blue in hand more because he can reload all of those counters with it.
Okay.
Just send 6.
Yeah.
1 card 6, no big deal.
Come in for 3 first. Again, maybe wanting the resources here to reload that induction chamber and the purifier after the fact.
And we're finally seeing Chris decide to block.
Yeah, I mean, he's getting a little low. Maybe he's realizing he has some redundancy in his hand here.
Yeah, I mean, I think if he can use 4 cards, he never blocks because he knows that the later this game goes.
Christ, we're 12 minutes in.
Yeah.
Look at these lights. I mean, we're getting there. All right. Oh, okay. That's not the item that Anthony's looking for. Teclo Pounder. It also doesn't block here, so a little scary.
Yeah, that's just an extra blue, something to help load those pistols up.
Yeah, I mean, Anthony wants to keep it blue anyway, so one of them being a non-block is fine. 2 of them, well, it starts to be a problem. Throttle put in front. Nice border, mate. All right, and we're going to give just the 1 card here to the Anathos. So actually going to take 3, yeah. Right, keeping an extra card. Is that a high octane that he wants to Arsenal, perhaps? Makes sense. If you give Anthony any opening, you stumble at all, and he can have like a turn we can boost, maybe twice even, as the resources to keep reloading that pistol.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how long he decides to hold on to that, if he wants to wait until he gets more of those plasma purifiers, or if he just kind of rips it to put some pressure on.
He took 3 to keep it, but you probably feel like that pays itself back later on.
I imagine he's really hoping to see some of those items sooner rather than later so that he doesn't get stuck with that in his arsenal for too long.
Yeah. I mean, we're getting through here. Anthony's still only on a couple of items, but such is the matchup that Dash can still do pretty well with just this setup, right? Just send that 1 card 6.
Well, if Chris can keep life parity and then get him with a sneaky pummel when he doesn't have a D-react in hand, like that's probably the only way he can win this game.
Okay. Yeah, something disruptive. Golden Sun with overpower, probably not enough. That's good for raw numbers, but Anthony has so many ways to play around overpower with reactions, reinforce the line.
That's what's so scary about this deck is you really can't rely on dominate or overpower to close games.
Here comes the pistol again. I'm taking it, he says.
Yeah.
Down to 11, Chris Iaali, our 5th seed here on Victor Goldmane. Not the deck you would have chosen, I suspect, but hey, this is what you get for putting your fate in your friends' hands. They will almost always find a way to make it hellish for you.
And we see a golden sun in his hand. Going back to the turn he lost that clash, he really wishes he had a gold right now to be able to go 5 into 10. Instead, it's looking like probably just 5 into 7.
Which is fine.
It's fine. It's okay. He may even choose to arsenal it and just swing the hammer. It's only one
one-
extra point of
1 point
value, so
difference, yeah.
I imagine that might be the more efficient play.
I mean, playing Golden Sun on printed value is
Yeah.
not where you want to be. That
Chris
is-
needs to get some clash wins
Yeah.
like yesterday.
Need some Clash card. I mean, well, you got the double trounce coming back
Yeah.
in that next cycle, buddy. Don't worry, it's gonna be there. Yeah, pitch that Golden Sun until you can build up a bit of a bank here. Anthony, very quick to put some cards here in front.
Preserve the life total.
Spark of Genius being one of them, though. Interesting. That's one way to guarantee yourself being able to draw.
Yeah, that is interesting. We were just talking about how he wants to get those items out, but here he is blocking with his tutor.
I mean, it's expensive, right, to get a 2 cost off that Spark of
It
Genius?
is, and he didn't have the cards in hand to do that. Valuing his life total a little bit more than speeding up the items. He figures he'll see them, and he's got plenty of life to work with, so why not just be patient instead of taking a bunch of damage off up front?
Right now, game's in Anthony's hands. Needs to avoid boosting any items. It's going to be important. But yeah, even with his current setup, like he could really just grind Victor down. Eventually, Victor's offering 2 cards to block 6 and has pretty middling hands in general. Here's a Clash of Vigor. Marcher off the top. That will win the clash. We got one, folks. We got one.
Opens up the 2-card 8 potential.
That's right. Vigor very important to the Guardian, as most of those 8 power attacks cost 4. You don't want to be having to pitch 2 cards to pay for them. Red Macho used on blocks there, so Chris now starting to feel the pinch a little bit.
And there it is, the 2-card 8. That is a debilitate if it crushes -2 on the first attack, including weapon attacks. Very versatile card.
And remarkably inefficient for Anthony to block in its entirety, so he will leak some damage.
Yep.
That's what Victor wants to be doing pretty regularly, not once in a blue moon as we're seeing here.
But very much on the back foot as
Ooh, buddy.
Anthony develops his next plasma purifier.
So now obviously it costs more than a blue to sort of keep this forge going. You don't have to use both purifiers. It's more of just like a, oh, I get to keep more cards this turn? Well, you're getting hit harder.
This is what Chris Iaali needs. The Rouse the Ancients coming in for 7 go again, revealing 2.
Got a Marcher and a Buckling Blow.
Yep, adding up to 13 power is how you activate that card, and that totals to 14.
Is it 6 and
6 and
6 and 8,
Yep.
that's right. All right. Yeah, for the first time, we're starting to see Red Macho Grande make its return. Really only for Victor. Bit of fun. 10 dominate. Not cheap to play, but important in the mirror especially. Here's a Spinal.
This was a big turn. Really important. Seeing him take the damage there probably indicated that he wanted to keep more cards in his hand, but this is going to turn off go again on everything, including all of the plasma purifiers and induction chambers on the board.
I think Anthony has another item in hand here, so
Really?
yeah, and maybe a blue, so.
Well, he'll need to give 2 cards to prevent that crush effect.
I mean, he might not care to have go again if he's just going to develop an item next turn. That'll use
That's
his action
true.
point
If he can
anyway.
develop an item, he'll be fine. But if he was hoping to put counters on all of his items, he can't do that.
Yeah, he's thinking on this
Yep.
one. You'd think normally you just snap, give a 2-card block here, stop the crush effect, and go on with your life.
He does have 3 block on his equipment that he could choose to use here if he wanted to. So he's not completely out of luck if he only has 1 card to block with. But you can see he's, for the first time in the game, kind of thinking about how he wants to play this out.
Yeah, it's a Sprocket Rocket, a 0 to 60, and
Yeah, and there comes the equipment. No, not very happy with his hand at the moment.
yeah, he's stuck with just the item in hand. You don't want to spend multiple cycles with a non-block card in your hand. You really want to get it
Yeah,
out.
that does look like an item, and it looks like he,
Purifier, I think.
yeah.
I mean, getting to attack for 5.
You said it was a Sprocket Rocket, right? So that's a red card, which means that he can't block with the blue and still play the item.
I'm not sure. I think it's a Sprocket. I mean, it can be blue Sprocket Rocket.
I see pink. I think that is
You
what
might
that
be
is.
right.
Is he running a blue?
He's got
Oh,
3
he's running, so
blues.
that it could very well be a blue.
Wait,
He's
give-
breaking one of his...
he's giving up the Purifier to give the Adaptive Plating plus 2 blocks, so 3 block
What?
here. What is the... Okay, so...
That is a very interesting play. Anthony Pham's a great player, so we're going to have to ask him about that decision after the game. Just develops another one. He says, I don't need 3 to close it.
Which I definitely agree with, yeah. Why not just... Yeah, I guess he doesn't want to get stuck with it in his hand.
I'm curious about not just cashing in the chess piece there.
Yeah.
Could have blocked 3 total and
He might
kept the
be
Purifier.
worried about potential dominate effects.
I see.
Right.
That's fascinating. These are the kinds of plays that the top players make that are often very difficult to see.
Yeah, just like looking at this list, right? The red machos, the blue machos, they're all, when you get to this stage of the game, also as well, it helps you with Golden Suns, which is, we've seen Chris pitch on multiple occasions now.
And look at this. Once again, he doesn't
trounces
send any
are back.
attacks, and the trounce is in the hand.
And they're reds. That's so painful.
Not what Chris wants to see either.
Yeah. Another way. I mean, Guardians get extra punished running these now when you pass back without doing anything.
Test of strength behind it.
I think it might be. And you know what? I mean, he pitched his trounces together.
Yeah.
Initially, I don't know if we're at this. We should be at the second cycle either now or very soon. So, okay, outmuscle red being pitched for a seismic surge. Anathos. Oh, this is the stumble turn that Anthony was
only 6, and I think he might be considering putting one of those block cards in Arsenal and just Crown of Providence it away.
Oh,
that is not so awful.
That is absolutely brutal. Yeah, no choice. I mean, you got to pitch the outmuscle away. I get it.
He could also consider just not arsenaling.
I mean, Anthony's definitely going to do something next turn. I mean, you let this guy have 2 cards.
Yeah, and so we're definitely going to see the Crown of Providence used to help clear that up.
Oh, buddy. Okay, Cranial, Macho in hand. Might be a pummel to round it out. Ugh. Weird time of the game for that. But hey, you know what? Pummel and Crown of Providence blocks 4.
True.
Yeah, you can get efficient blocks finally.
This might be the test of strength, though, coming on. Oh, starts with the...
He probably just wants max info
here. Did he
here.
keep the trounce or the test?
Keep the trounce.
Okay, so he just goes for the trounce.
Let's do it. Oh, okay.
Did he win that one, or was it a tie? What did
it's a
Anthony
figure,
show?
right? Yeah, I think we're good. I think
it was
we're
a
good.
4 power. I didn't see what Anthony... Okay. Whew.
Yeah.
A lucky break for Chris.
We are doing the thing, folks. Vigor, Might, and Gold tokens generated as Chris wins 2 consecutive clashes from Trounce. Oh, he's living the life.
Getting this gold is really important at this stage of the game because he's looking to get a Golden Sun to close the game out. One of the most powerful cards he can play with that overpower and 10 damage as long as he destroys a gold token.
Nathaniel, yeah, adaptive plating allows you to sack an item to give it +2 block power. So that's how we get
Galvanize mechanic.
Galvanize. Okay, here we go. Activating all our stuff here.
4 more attack coming out.
Chris getting a little low on life here, but again, now with that sort of vigor token, yeah, those attacks start to become a bit more punishing. All right, nobody saw that. Nobody saw you put a block card in Arsenal. Another Macho card in hand here. So good cards to see at this stage of the game.
Absolutely.
Consecutive, damage that's really hard to mitigate.
And so this is where keeping that armor around matters a lot.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Deal with those dominate effects. That's why. Yeah, and Anthony did still, of course, choose to sort of galvanize there and try and get 3 value. I mean, you do, if you play adaptive plating, you do want to get 3 block from that arm piece, right? If you can.
Yeah, I mean, giving up a plasma purifier that you took a turn off to play.
It's a line. That's
a choice.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's not a Golden Sun. Sorry, it looks like a Thunderquake instead.
It seems like Anthony just doesn't really value the extra 1 damage. I think he thinks that just the breakpoint of 4 is good enough. So fascinating.
Here's a seismic. Pitch 2 blues to this.
Red Macho coming in for 11 with the Might and to dominate. That's a lot of damage.
Couple turns of this is what Chris Iaali's looking for. He might have, God forbid, pocket the blue Macho Grande. Okay, we have block here, 2 block.
See the armor come in.
Still 6 damage.
Yeah, that's a lot of damage to be taking at 11 life.
We can pass to reacts here and see if Anthony has anything more to do. Does not look like it.
I'm sure he's worried about a pummel, but has he Arsenal to D-react to help him
Chris
deal with
has
this?
a pummel, no? Well, no, it was a previous turn cycle, I think.
Oh, yeah, I don't think he drew one up.
Oh, that would be pretty nasty.
Yeah, that would be.
Oh, he does have it. The pummel. Oh my goodness. Wait. 15 dominate, blocked by 5, go to 1, discard. Oh, that's scary. And he pitched the other blue Macho to do this, right?
Yeah.
But we know that there are Golden Suns lurking in this second cycle somewhere.
He's got that gold out ready to go.
Oh, man, it's cracked. Oh, these dominate effects.
Did you see what he just drew?
Golden Sun?
That's a Golden Sun. And he has a
got a Macho in
seismic
hand as well.
surge, so he only needs to
Oh.
keep 2 cards to play this.
That's right, it's as good as a Vigor in this case. And a gold token there for Chris.
But this is the high octane turn. This is huge for Anthony. He could push a lot of damage. If he can strip more than 2 cards out, that's a huge
That's right, Chris is going to
deal.
keep 2
But
cards.
8 life and 2 pieces of equipment
That's
to block
12
with.
in total?
And there's that, the twin drive here, giving 2 action points, plus the go again, 3 off of a single card.
Oh, what a time for this to come. Chris might just have to give it all this turn. Quicken token, of course, might be an option. The Civic Steps to get into block here, but
You do not want to give the quicken token on this turn. That would be
with all the action points.
+1, -4.
Yeah, devastating now, of course, with double Plasma Purifier used. Yeah, you don't touch that. Already reaching for the equipment here. Chris is doing the math.
Yeah, he needs to survive with 2 cards in hand this turn, and Anthony does not want to let that happen.
There's no way that's happening. There's no way that's happening. Chris has to give it up here. So it's going to be 16, technically 17 points of block to work with here. That's probably enough to stay alive, but forget going for the win here. You're going to have to go for something a bit more conservative. Taking it.
He's we'll have to see. I think he might. I haven't done all the math on the. So we've got 4, 8, 12 coming in after this. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Didn't you say 17? He needs 17 to stay alive. That's exactly how much we're looking at here.
That is nasty.
He may be able to stay alive at 1. I'll have to check my math. I'm a little bit brain foggy after the day.
We still need to be reloading the plasma pistol, right? So
yeah, he'll need to pay for that. Well, he doesn't have to. Well, yeah, he has to reload the pistol in order to get those 3 shots off. But that's so he'll need 1 more blue. I'm not sure what he's got face down on the table there, but if it's a blue, he should be representing 17 exactly, with 5 + 4 + 4 + 4.
down to the absolute T. So it's got to be perfect blocking here for Chris to even have a chance. Surely it's a blue. It's got to be a blue for Anthony.
Yep.
Oh, it's a yellow. Wait.
He's going for
Boost.
1 extra resource.
He got it. Oh, and the little grin on his face. I think Chris knows that he's absolutely chalked here. Anthony, of course, Teklo, Foundry, Heart. Gives him that +1 on resource he was looking for, virtually turning that blue in that yellow into a blue. And here come the pistols. Time to get this man down. Is it? I mean, if you can't pay to reload the pistol, is it that bad to give civics here? I mean, you are giving
That's
him
true.
that
That's
go
a good
again.
point. He can use civics here as long as he's safe
So that's
on the
17,
resources. So
17 block, right?
I think, yeah.
Hey, there it is. Get that in there, sir. Tech gets in there as well. Looks like we're taking 1 from that pistol shot.
It is so hard to use civic steps in this matchup, and Chris has used it perfectly.
Yes, he found both spots. He found perfectly. He
And-
kept 2 cards.
Yep.
Hang on.
And he's got the seismic, he's got the
Hang on.
gold, and he's got the golden sun.
Oh, buddy. Okay. We're going to go down to 4.
Not bad, Chris.
Here it is. Golden Sun.
Now he's got to say,
Overpower.
Anthony,
Any D-reacts?
what's in your
How
hand?
many? Chris Iaali.
Oh my God.
Gets there. Unbelievable. Chris Iaali advances to our semi-finals here. Anthony Pham just can't quite get there. And it looks like that bet ends up being bad beats for your boy on the left.
In a hugely unfavored matchup, the first time Chris has brought Guardian to an event, he's showing the world how good he is at flesh and blood, full stop. Put him on anything.
So I guess, yeah, it was 5 + 12, right? In theory, we did get 3 pistol attacks.
Yeah,
right?
I think the problem was he didn't have the blue, so he actually only had the 2 resources from his chest activation. He didn't have the ability to pay for that last pistol, even if he had the go again.
Oh, I thought he had a yellow and he pitched one of it into the Foundry Heart, so it should go to...
Was it yellow into the founder?
Yeah, like yellow. I think he had a blue, then yellow zipper here. Either way, he pulled up short by 3 damage in the end. So the Civic Steps, I mean...
There was a miscalculation somewhere in there. I don't know
That was...
who
I
did
mean, that
it.
was...
Maybe chat will catch it. If we read back, I'm sure they're yelling at us for making
Yeah, because
that mistake.
I thought, like, looking down that high octane turn, it was about over here. But this is... Look, this is something that Victor decks are able to do more and more. Not... In the past, not all of them were running this red Macho, but a big complaint from a lot of Victor players was like, it's just hard for us to end the game. We only have blue Macho, and we have Golden Sun. That's like the only evasive damage we have. And generally, you'll find our opponent can sort of block us out and, just have a high enough life total to pivot off and just sort of, win the game there. Now, though, decks are bringing in Terra Thunder, which is clunky, we talked about, but Red Macho fits a little bit better, right? And alongside all these good value cards to force blocking cards out of your opponent into steal tempo away, you have these Machos that can end the game really nicely.
The Macho Pummel was absolutely huge. I'm very curious to know if that was pitch stacked. I didn't see him pitch those cards together, so that could have been sort of the end of his first cycle. But regardless, having those 2 cards in hand plus a full grip was game-changing for Chris. And I think that he's just one of those players that can see those lines, know when to block, know how to block. He was taking so much damage early game, and he just found it. Yeah,
beautiful stuff. We're going to go to a break here, and we might have a chance to catch up with our Victor in a moment. For those wondering, of course, it's not just circuit points on the line. It's an arcane lantern. Look at that. Is that beautiful? Big fan of that one. Of course, the title of April AGE champion, by the way. I think you're contractually obliged to wear your medals to these events. Thankfully, the Scourge of Pasadena is on a break right now because his neck got so bent over from wearing all of his medals. Thoughts out to Craig, of course. I hope to see him again soon. But that's what we have for now. We're going to come back afterwards. We might have a chance to get a chat to Chris. Otherwise, we'll advance with the rest of our top 8. Up next, semi-finals. All right, back early here in the booth at AGE Open for April. Mitch Leslie here, joined by Chris Iaali, newly minted Guardian mate. I mean, you've got to be feeling euphoric right now. Not only are you, of course, advancing in our top 8, but you're playing the most fun games of Flesh and Blood you've ever played. How does it feel?
Yeah, it's pretty exciting.
Obviously, we talked about the bet. I mean, there's got to be some vindication of you taking down Anthony, who managed to guess your favorite movie here. Like, there's got to be some. I could see like the vibes at the table were good, but got to be feeling pretty decent to get a win here.
Yeah, definitely. It was a really close game. Yeah, I barely got it out.
Yeah.
In the end. But.
Well, let's talk about it, because obviously it's a pretty tough game. You just ignore the pistols for most of the game, right? You're pitching a lot of those Machos. Second cycle, you get somebody that double trounce hand, and then he just Arsenal passes, or he just like loads pistols and passes.
Yeah, he's so good at that.
Yeah, you end up arseling one of them. Just have to Crown of Providence it away.
Exactly. Yeah, just try to get the card back somehow.
Yeah, I've got to ask you that sort of Macho Pummel turn feels like that's where it really opened up here. Like I think you like Providenced into a 5-carder, and so you knew you'd sort of have a big turn to come back from. Is that when you felt like you were going to get over the line?
Yeah, it was definitely a key part. I think what the Macho Pummel did, like, even though it puts him to 1, the biggest thing that it does is it forces him to go off then. Like, if he gets another turn where he gets to actually have like a bigger high octane turn, I definitely lose the game. Like, even on that last turn, if he has a blue instead of the yellow zipper hit, or if he draws a yellow or a blue instead of the twin drive, I lose.
He discarded his Teclo Pounder instead of that yellow zipper hit, I think.
Yeah, I think he wanted to guarantee that he had a boost card in his hand. But
sure. Yeah, I mean, I guess you need to make sure.
If you high octane into a D-React, then it's not the greatest. But yeah, super close game. So
yeah, absolutely. And you come out of it. Now, tell me, if you actually got to choose, what would you have played here at AG?
I played Viserai at the Pro Tour in LA, and I was tweaking it a little bit, and I still like the deck. I think it's pretty good, especially if there's going to be a lot of warriors that show up.
Yep.
So I probably would have leaned towards Viserai still.
Gotcha. Yeah, obviously. And that list, which we didn't really get to see showcased much, I think the only Viserai we got was like a mid-range one. I kind of was on the receiving end of this last year to ProQuest.
Yeah.
So it's a similar idea, right? You're trying to stack a lot of those rune chants up and really just like have these spike turns with those.
Exactly, yeah. It focuses a lot on the auras. The new Sonata Galaxia is really strong in the deck, and gives you extra value on those rune chants.
Yeah. Dromai rotating out soon.
Yep.
What is going to be your go-to in lieu of that? You feel like you still want to pilot that Viserai list and sort of go over that, or?
I mean, one of the reasons why I wanted to play Viserai was because of how popular Dromai was. Like, I think the rune chants are still really hard for the all-red deck to deal with, right? But I don't know. I'm interested to see what the new heroes look like. I wouldn't be surprised if Katsu gets to use some of the new cards and ends up being really strong. So,
any of the new misfile heroes stand out to you particularly, or you're just sort of interested in how it affects the wider meta and some of the maybe side grades that some of these other decks get?
Yeah, I want to see more about what all the Mystic cards are about.
Yeah.
But I do like the Assassin and Ninja class in general. So. I wouldn't be surprised if I lean towards those heroes.
So you're off Bolton. You're on Bolton for a while. You were. I watched every week of the ArcLight League. few Bolton games there. I also saw, was it in Philly where you had to play the Fatigue Bravo in the first round?
Hartford.
Yeah, Hartford.
Yeah, it
I've
was-
never seen you look so unhappy. But
Anthony.
so you're off that. You're off that now.
No, I really like Bolton still. And definitely with Jomai leaving, Bolton gets better too. So we'll see.
Well, good luck in the rest of the top 8, Chris. Thanks for your
Hit it.
time.
Yeah,
Thanks for
thank
joining
you.
me. Chris Iaali, of course, former world number 2, and now ripping it up here, Anthony Pham. I mean, be careful what you wish for, big son. This
Yeah,
is
that's
the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. We'll see you after the break with more of our top 8 semi-finals coming at you right here at Arcane Events April Open.